There's nothing quite like the sound of a dog's tail thumping against the floor when you walk through the door. Or the way they energetically sprint in circles when you grab their favorite toy. The gentle nibble of their teeth as they play, the way they sniff every blade of grass on their walk like it's a treasure hunt, or the warm, slobbery kiss they plant on your cheek when you least expect it. These are the moments that make dogs so special, the little things that fill our lives with joy. But not every dog gets to experience that joy. For some, life starts with hardship, abandonment, neglect, or worse. This is the story of one such dog, a resilient soul who went from a life of loneliness to a life overflowing with love. Today, we're sharing a tale that will remind you why every dog deserves a second chance and how an act of kindness can change a life forever. But what happened next will leave you in awe. In a small, overcrowded shelter on the outskirts of town, a scruffy terrier mix named Charlie waited. His days were a blur of cold concrete floors, the distant barks of other dogs, and the occasional pat on the head from a kind volunteer. Charlie had been there for months, watching as other dogs found homes while he remained behind. No one knew much about Charlie's past. He had been found wandering the streets, his fur matted and his ribs visible beneath his thin coat. He was shy at first, hiding in the corner of his kennel whenever someone approached. But over time, he began to open up, wagging his tail tentatively when the volunteers brought food or gently sniffing their hands when they reached out to him. Despite his progress, Charlie's future was uncertain. The shelter was full and time was running out. But then, one rainy afternoon, everything changed. A young woman named Emma walked into the shelter. She wasn't sure what she was looking for, she just knew she wanted to help. As she walked past the rows of kennels, her heart ached for every dog she saw. But when she reached Charlie's kennel, something made her stop. Charlie was sitting quietly, his head tilted to the side as if studying her. His tail gave a soft wag, and his eyes, those deep, soulful eyes, seemed to say, "Are you here for me?" Emma knelt down, her voice soft. "Hey there, buddy," she said. "You look like you've been through a lot." Charlie stood up and took a few cautious steps toward her, his nose twitching as he sniffed the air. When Emma reached out her hand, he gently licked her fingers, his tail wagging a little faster. In that moment, Emma knew she had found her dog. Bringing Charlie home was both exciting and nerve-wracking for Emma. She had prepared everything, a cozy bed, a basket of toys, and even a special collar with his name on it. But she knew that the real work was just beginning. At first, Charlie was hesitant. He sniffed every corner of the house, his tail wagging slowly as he explored his new surroundings. He'd pause occasionally, looking back at Emma as if to make sure she was still there. Emma gave him space, letting him adjust at his own pace. She'd sit on the floor, quietly reading or working on her laptop, while Charlie cautiously approached her. Over time, he began to relax. He'd curl up beside her, his head resting on her lap, and let out a contented sigh. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Charlie was still skittish around loud noises, and he'd hide under the bed whenever the doorbell rang. Emma knew it would take time for him to fully trust her, but she was patient. She'd sit by the bed, talking softly to him until he felt safe enough to come out. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Charlie did something that brought tears to Emma's eyes. He picked up his favorite toy, a squeaky squirrel, and dropped it in her lap, his tail wagging furiously. "You want to play?" Emma asked, her voice filled with delight. Charlie barked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. It was the first time he had initiated play, and it felt like a breakthrough. From that moment on, their bond grew stronger every day. As the weeks passed, Charlie began to come out of his shell. He'd greet Emma at the door with a wagging tail and a toy in his mouth, his excitement bubbling over. He loved their daily walks, sniffing every tree and bush like he was on a mission to discover the world. But there were still moments when Charlie's past resurfaced. Thunderstorms sent him hiding under the bed, and he'd flinch if someone moved too quickly. Emma knew these were reminders of the life he had left behind, and she was determined to help him feel safe. One day, Emma decided to take Charlie to a local dog park. She thought it would be good for him to socialize with other dogs and people. At first, Charlie was nervous. He stayed close to Emma, his tail tucked between his legs as he watched the other dogs play. But then, a friendly golden retriever approached him, wagging its tail and playfully bowing. Charlie hesitated, then tentatively wagged his tail in return. Before long, the two dogs were chasing each other around the park, their barks echoing with joy. Emma watched with a smile, her heart swelling with pride. It was another step forward for Charlie, another sign that he was learning to trust again. That night, as they sat together on the couch, Charlie rested his head on Emma's lap and let out a contented sigh. Emma gently stroked his fur, her voice soft. "You're doing so well, buddy," she said. "I'm so proud of you." Charlie looked up at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. In that moment, Emma knew that Charlie wasn't just healing, he was helping her heal, too. One crisp autumn morning, Emma and Charlie set out on their usual walk through the neighborhood. The air was cool, the leaves were turning golden, and Charlie trotted happily beside her, his tail wagging as he sniffed at the fallen leaves. As they rounded a corner, they came across a group of children playing in a yard. One of the kids, a little girl with pigtails, spotted Charlie and ran over, her face lighting up with excitement. "Can I pet your dog?" she asked, her eyes wide with hope. Emma hesitated. Charlie had come a long way, but he was still nervous around strangers, especially children. She glanced down at him, ready to intervene if he seemed uncomfortable. But Charlie surprised her. He sat down, his tail wagging slowly, and looked up at the little girl with calm, curious eyes. The girl knelt down and gently patted his head, her giggles filling the air. Charlie leaned into her touch, his tail wagging faster now. Emma felt tears well up as she watched the scene unfold. This was the same dog who had once hidden under the bed at the sound of a doorbell. The same dog who had been too scared to even look at strangers. Now, here he was, letting a child pet him with complete trust. It was a moment that defined everything: Charlie's resilience, Emma's patience, and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. Charlie's journey from a scared, abandoned dog to a confident, loving companion was nothing short of miraculous. He had faced unimaginable challenges, but his resilience and courage had carried him through. And Emma? She had gained more than just a dog. She had found a best friend, a confidant, and a reminder of the power of second chances. As the seasons changed, so did Charlie. He became a regular at the local dog park, where his playful antics and gentle nature made him a favorite among the other dogs and their owners. He even became a therapy dog, visiting schools and nursing homes to bring comfort to those in need. But no matter how much his life changed, one thing remained constant: his bond with Emma. They were a team, united by a love that had transformed them both. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to appreciate the dogs in your life. Whether they've overcome great challenges or simply bring joy to your days, their love is a gift we should never take for granted. Share this video with someone who believes in the power of second chances. And if you're thinking about adding a furry friend to your family, consider adoption. There are countless dogs like Charlie out there, waiting for their chance to heal and be healed. Subscribe to True Love Dogs for more stories that celebrate the incredible bond between humans and their four-legged heroes. Together, let's make the world a better place, one paw at a time.